Today we will cover one of my favorite Linux distributions, Antix. And Antix is now in the process of a new version 23 Arditi del Populo, which is based on, of course, the new Debian bookworm. So behind me now we have this Antix 23 with a very new wallpaper. But before that, we will start with the installation and we will continue from there. So let us start. If you notice here, we have Antix 23 Beta 2 Runit x64 full. There are 3 versions now in testing. There's one of them is the Antix 23 64-bit full. There is also the 32-bit for lower end PCs. And there is also the core. There's only 3 now. And it was released in 10 June 2023. So here we have many options. Because we have this Runit x64 full, you can choose 2 systems. You can use the legacy kernel or the modern kernel. The modern kernel is on 6.1, but the legacy is 5.1. So it depends on you which one you want to use. Of course, if your system is old, it's better to use the legacy one. It will be much faster. But for many other solutions, you use the modern. So let me use the modern. Of course, normal boot. And that's it. We are now in Antix. For us, let us go xrender-s. I'll make it 1920 by 1080. And that's it. We can fix all of these. Not now, we will not fix them now, but for us these are not very bad. We can there is a tweak to fix all of these in the startup when we start Antix. But for now we will go with the installer. So let us start with the installer. Change keyboard setting. Let me increase this one first. So it is the default installer that is found in Antix. They have not changed it. Many Debian now they are using Calamares installer like Spiral Linux, but they stick to the default one. There's no problem. It is also straightforward. Here we have the select type of installation, regular install, 20 GB, and custom the disk layout. This is no problem. Let us put next. So OK to format and use the entire list. I say yes. And now it is starting with the installation. Here you can see the live log, what is happening, all the bash scripts that are running in order to make the installation. And we can here, when it is installing, we can also go for next. United States, US, Eastern. You can change with whichever the location you are having. Also you can change also the system time, the local, and all the others. I'll press next. Default user log name, let us go for Antix. I'll put a very small password. Don't do that, but just for demonstration purposes. You can also have root administration account. You can auto log in, etc. I press next. And now all the other features are finished. We have to wait until it finishes the installation. Okay, so it is finished. Automatically reboot the system when the installer is closed. Let me remove this one. Let me put finish. Of course, in the devices, I have to remove the Antix, unmount the Antix, and I will have to reset. So you have to restart again. Okay, Antix 23 Runit Arditi del Populo. I press enter. You see how fast it is. One of the fastest booting systems. So here I said I created it Antix and 1. And if you notice, the session type is zzz-iswm. This is the default in Antix 23. It is ISWM window manager with ZZZFM file manager. The ZZZFM file manager is if you want the desktop to if you want to use the ZZZFM desktop instead of rocks. So let me press enter. Okay, so this is it. What we can do is we also do the same. We can take it from the control center if you want. Control center, you go to session, set screen resolution, output resolution 1920 by 1080. I make it like this and it's finished. Okay, so that's basically it. What is left, I need to change all of these things that are happening here. Especially it has some problems. Always Antix had a problem with the resolution in VirtualBox and also in some screens that you will use. So the easiest thing is to make it permanent. So first what we'll do is you need to kill the desktop here, and then you put it again, ZZZFM -- desktop, put and Control C, put and finished. Okay, we will put it again, there's no problem. For this one you put it off and desktop put it on, it will work. For this one, ZZZFM - daemon - desktop and exit. Okay, so it's fixed now. So we have this one, we have this one. If I log out and log in again, everything will change. The resolution will change. This one will be like this. This one will be on the other side. And sometimes you don't need to use this system monitor. You don't want it at all. You want to have less resources. So what we can do is, in the following, everything can be done in the control center. What we'll do in the control center is you go to sessions, user desktop session, you click it, and here we have all the options what you can do for the wallpaper, for the mouse, for the desktop session. I'll go for the desktop session. You go down, there is a load conky equals true. So this one, when you load the window manager specific, load conky equals true. So you make it false, because conky is the system monitor. So if you load as false, you will not have a conky in that matter. Let me save it. I save it here, save the current file. So the conky will not appear if you don't want it in your system monitor. The next thing is in the startup here. If you notice here, there is one place, it's called startup. So in the startup, I add the following. I will add xrender -s. You put your screen resolution. For me, it is 1920 x 1080. Okay. And if you are using only IceWM, you do this step. If you are using Fluxbox or JWM, it depends on your system, because ZZZFM or Rockstorm, there's two options you can use as a desktop. So xrender -s 1920 by 1080, I will put kill all ZZZFM, and then I will put, let me here put an and. Okay, and here I will put an and here I will put ZZZFM - desktop. So it is easy. If you don't want to use it here, because it is IceWM, you can use the startup in IceWM. We'll talk about it also later, how we can change it. But you can use it here for all. Save the current file, finished. So now let me log out and log in again. Log out, log out. I'll put Antix and I wait a little bit. Okay, great. So we don't have the conky. and we have this one. The conky, as I said, if you don't like it or the system monitor, this one will not load on all your system, not only IceWM, also Herbstluft, also all the other window managers that are available here. If you notice here, ZZZFM IceWM or ROX, and this is IceWM without anything. There's minimum IceWM, also ZZZ Fluxbox, ROX, minimal. So we have all these things. I don't see any Herbstluft. I don't know what happened. Maybe because it is styling, it changed. You have to load Herbstluft. Let me check. I'm surprised they don't have Herbstluft. Let me check. We press F1, 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 F1. Oh, you have Herbstluft. So this one you cannot change it in the tiling. You cannot change it inside. But from here you can go for Herbstluft WM. Let me come back to the default Antix 1. It's loading, and voila. So let us look first here in the toolbar. We have in the toolbar Antix updater. Let me click it. So if you notice here the repo, it is debian bookworm. And of course no systemd. Antix 23, there's no systemd, there's no elognd, there's no snap, you will not see snap, there's no flatback out of the box, but there is also a way to install flatpaks, but for anyone using Antix, I don't think they will use flatpaks. Okay, so there is at least 7 equal available updates, automatic updates. It directly goes into the terminal and will update it directly. All of the GUIs in Antix, they are very simple GUIs. When you click them, they will directly go to the terminal and execute. Well, it's very fast. There's not much to upgrade. Your system is now updated. So we finished this one. The other one is software installer. As usual, this is a very typical Antix. It has been around for all the versions. You can also have an option here if you want the desktop environment. You can install the desktop environments, all of these. And if you notice now, since it is in Bookworm, the latest one, KDE, it will be 5.27, which is the latest in Debian Bookworm. Of course, also GNOME, you can install GNOME. It is also GNOME 43. You can install it. These are the ones that are available with Bookworm, and that's why now in Antix 23 you have the ability to install them in these desktop environments. The others are development disks. It's very nice to use these, but of course, when you install it, it directly goes to the terminal. It's not a 100% GUI where there's no terminal used in that. Here we have the enabled repos and the Debian backports. And if you install Flatpak, it will have here an option for the Flatpaks. Looking here, we have the removable disk. Of course, the file manager is ZZZFM. I don't know why they are using it. Frankly, I have problem with this one because it is clunky, but it has many of the options, and you see here the UI is not that good, and there's some things. Let's say here there's no about for the ZZZFM. It used to be space FM, now it is I don't know, ZZZFM. What does this mean? But it does the job. If you like PCman FM, you can use it, but the only reason I say they are using ZZFM is it's lighter than PCman FM and Tuner. It is lighter, and they can make use of the desktop here. So here, when you right click, there are also in the you can desktop settings. All of these you can do in the right clicking. You can open whatever you want, and there's a lot of things you can do. That's the only reason why I think that ZZZFM is used. Before they did not use the desktop, they used iDesk. I don't see any iDesk now. 3-4 years ago there was an iDesk which can be utilized directly if you want to install, and then you can remove it. Now they are using this desktop from ZZFM. The next thing is here is the web browser, and if you notice in the web browser, now we are having Firefox. 2-3 versions ago it was not available. They used SeaMonkey or any lighter version. Now they are using Firefox, which is good. And of course, if we look at, let me look at about. So it is the extended support release, as with all Debian, but it is fine. Okay, so that's for the browser. And here they used to have this one. It's called IceWM Toolbar Icon Manager. You know, IceWM, you can add icons here in the toolbar directly by the config files. You have to change in the config files and do it. Here you can do it through a GUI, and of course we say this is a simple GUI. For example, if let's say I want to add an icon, here are all the programs that you can add. Let's say I want to add Midnight Commander. Okay. So because when you add it, it directly gives you the icon for it. So when I click it, so now we have now the Midnight Commander. If you want to remove it, directly remove icon. And these are, it is handy, but I don't know, I don't like to have it, of course, here in the toolbar. But what we can do, because we have IceWM, we can go directly to the control center, edit IceWM settings. This is all the settings in IceWM. So you can go to the toolbar here. Notice here we have all these toolbars. If I remove this one is the IceWM. You can add whichever you like. Let's say I want to add program here. This is the file manager. Let's say I want to add ZZZFM. Okay. And the toolbar is, I don't know if they have the same toolbar. Let me get the icon for Tunar, for example, if they have it. And for the terminal, ZZZFM. For example, I save it. And let me restart IceWM. So we have it here, ZZZFM. I press it, it is there. Okay, if I want to remove it, we can remove it from here. I think ZZZFM remove, I can remove it. It is handy for removing. For adding, I don't know, because you can add whichever you want directly from here. Overwrite, so it's finished. Oh, we have to remove it again. I did overwrite, so save, so it's finished. So as I told you, this IceWM, they have all of these preferences and keys, and of course Antix has a lot of key bindings that are very well useful. They use a mixer, for example. There is an option now to install Pipewire. So in many cases you had problem with Antix with the sound. I think now they have Pipewire you can install if you have any problems with the sound. All the time I had problem with ALSA mixer, so I use Pulse Audio. Now they have an option for Pipewire, and Pipewire is doing fine, so we can install Pipewire if you have a problem with the sound. The other things that are still available, and I don't like why they are still available, is Alt Control 1 is wing grid left, Alt Control 2 wing grid right. This is a program they use if you want to tile things. They are using wing grid, although now there is an option in IceWM instead of wing grid. For example, here if I right click, if you notice here there is a tile here, there is left half, right half, bottom half, top left, top right. There are key bindings for them. You can add key bindings for them. So instead of this wing grid, this one used to be in 3-4 years ago, no, 10 years ago, they used to have this one. But the last year or so, the IceWM improved and used these out of the box. So you don't need to use wing grid left, all of them. There is also an option left half. Let's say if I press it, it will take it the left half, and right half, you have the right half. So instead of using wing grid left or wing grid right or top and bottom, you can use the other option, and I think it is here in key win. Okay, so here key win tile left is super left and super right and super up. So these are very straightforward. Instead of using Alt Control left, Alt Control right, which is here, Alt Control 1, Alt Control 2, you can use these. Let me come back to it again. You can use these, and of course you can change these in the preference override. If you want to override these, you can put it in the preference override. I spoke about it in IceWM guide. You can go over it, which was released a couple of days ago. You can check it and know how we can manipulate these. But these are very well useful. Why? Because you can make a simple tiling. Let's say super left, super right, super left, super right, super up, super down, and then you can go back. It's very handy. Let's say if you want another file here and you want it tiled, it will be tiled directly with super left, super right, and super up. The same that you see in OpenBox before, the same procedure with that. Looking now at the themes also, the themes are very well. They removed most of the ugly themes that you see. Like there is Win95, all of these, they were very bad. Now there is very nice themes for IceWM, which, for example, clear view blue large. It is nice. Most of them are nice. For example, there is also ice clear looks. Let's say ice clear looks large. They are not bad. Let me pick a dark one. There is a dark one. FX dark. Let's see this one. That's the one they are using, FX dark. Okay. So that's it. Let's us continue with the control center. We have a lot of things to discuss about it. Of course, the choose wallpaper, instead of nitrogen, you can use this wallpaper. You can select the picture that you want and use it. It's very straightforward, very minimal. If you want to edit all the settings in IceWM, if you don't want to look at the config files, directly you press here and you have all the files in one click. So, and also there is Genie. Whatever you want to change in the config files, they are all given here. Very handy, not only for IceWM, for JWM and Fluxbox also. There's also for the conky, if you want to change if you know how to read the conky file, you can also change it from here. It is .conkyrc. I think I have a video on that. You can I will put it in the link. The preferred applications, These are the ones that are in by default. If you want the terminal to open, it will be Rockstorm. The web browser is Firefox. These are also the defaults that are always present in Debian and Ubuntu. Looking at the software, this is very nice, the Antix updater, and very nice to see it here directly. If you don't know how to update, you press this one and it will update it directly. The package manager, there is also the repo manager, just for updated for people with some knowledge about that. If you want to change the repo or the location of the repo for making it the fastest repo for installation. And of course, in the managed packages, this is the Synaptic. So if you want to install anything in the Synaptic, you can use this one. For basic usage, I prefer to use the package software installer because it has all the things that are needed, the applications that are needed. But if you want some advanced things, you can go for Synaptic, or of course you can go for the terminal. Looking at the system, we have the ISWM control center. I really don't like this ISWM control center. I'll show you why. This is a simple GUI, and there's some things you can press. If you like it, you like it. For me, I don't like it at all. But if you noticed here, let me go back. There is manually edit config files. If I press it, you go back to the main one that we are using. So it's better to use the manual. If you like the GUI, you can also use the GUI. Let me close this one. The startup services, simple enough. You can also add your own service. One of them is of course the Wi-Fi. Edit config files. Let me go for the network. The network, there is here add block. It is I believe it is a new addition in the last 2-3 versions in Antix, and this one is it is as like the uBlock origin, so you can block some ads directly before entering your browser. It is the same as HHblock, I think, in GitHub, which is found in Arco Linux. They also all use this HHblock. So AdBlock also is the same thing, I think, with that. There's also the firewall. In the shares, there is a Drupy connect shares and disconnect shares. I don't frankly like Drupy. Let me show you why. Drupy, it is a simple web server, so you can change between different places, a file from different places. But now with the advent of web or Telegram, you can also change between systems without using the web server. And this one is not encrypted. It is not safe to use, so you have to be very careful how you use it. Another thing, what I noticed in 2023 is anything had a tooltip now. So all of these, they have tooltips. They were not available before. The session, very important. If you screen resolution, password, if you want the grab boot image, login manager, set screen blanking, and of course the one that we used for changing the system monitor, user desktop session. You need to read these, especially if you want to change some things. Let's say if you want pulse audio to work, you can uncomment this one, or Pipewire. You read these. These are the ones that I added. You can add whichever you like. This is also for the mouse, if you want to change in something from the mouse you don't like. For the wallpaper, each wallpaper list for each one. Let's say for ZZZ ISWM, this is Antix 3. You can change it. You can put a default one. Of course, in nitrogen, you don't have these. Directly, you put nitrogen -- restore. But this one, for this simple wallpaper, this is the way how you can change the backgrounds. It's better to change the background for each one so that you can know which one you are using. This is for the wallpaper, and of course this is for the startup. Okay, so that's it. Nothing much to talk about. This is the disks, the hardware. This is the ones that you need to do if you have a problem with ALSA mixer. Test sound, adjust ALSA mixer. I always spend most of my time before in these, but now you can go for Pipewire and solve all your problems. But because if you need a lighter version, you always use ALSA mixer. The drivers, there is NVIDIA driver installer. I never used it before because most of my Antix system that I use is a low-end PCs, so they don't have NVIDIA, so I did not try it. But of course, I took it from MX Linux because MX Linux are going over the high-end PCs and want to make it more popular. That's why NVIDIA is included now in Antix. I did not see it before, I think in previous versions. The maintenance, there is the boot repair, system backup, menu editor. I like the ISO snapshot. Like this one, you can add your own programs, you can add your own settings, and after that you press ISO snapshot. And it's very easy to use. All you have to do is you put the snapshot name. It is the ISO file that you will use. Let me move it a little bit here. And you put the project name, of course the release code name. These are the ones that when you boot your computer, these are the ones that will be displayed. Select a different snapshot directory. These will be in /home/snapshot, this ISO file, and then you put next. Here, if you have a very big, let's say music file that you don't want it in the ISO, you can exclude it. Let's say you have a music files of 15 or 16 gigabytes, so it's better not to include it, so you can exclude some of them. Of course, you need to exclude anything inside VirtualBox. Let's say you have 2, 3, 4 Linux distributions with around 20-30 gigabyte. Of course, the ISO will be very huge, so that's why you don't include this VirtualBox. Also, if you have downloaded a lot of files and you don't need them in your ISO, you also put them here. So you need to use this one if you don't know what you are doing. Of course, there is also edit exclusion file. You can also add another file, maybe wine, for example. This is not included, but also wine, if you have, you can also exclude it in the ISO. This is the compression. I keep this one. I never change the other one. Preserving accounts for personal backup. This is very important, as if you have personal backup, so all your dot files will be will not change. But if you want to make it for distribution to others, you will have to enter your own dot files. You use this one. And if you notice here in the resetting accounts, when you said resetting accounts, it excluded all of these folders. Okay, so you press next, and then you press OK, and it will create your ISO. You take it and you burn it, and it is finished. The other things for the applications, for example, if we look here at the app select, I don't like it much. I like the menu, but I don't know why they still keep this one. In either case, you can use it. For example, let's say if you need to have a certain file as mtube, if you want to browse and search videos from YouTube, you can use it. They have this application. So any application you can search for it, installed application, you can search for it here. I like the menu or Rofi, but they are using this for a long time and it's no problem. And for the applications, if you notice here, all the applications, there's here YAD. They use a lot of YAD in their work. Accessories, I would have talked about Cherry Tree. I don't really like Cherry Tree, although it's the same color of my shirt. green, and it is cherry. I use them. I already put a video on them, a very extensive video on them. I like them very well. Cherry 3, I didn't like it much. I don't know some of the reasons, because it is only one file. That's maybe the problem. And there is leaf pad still present in Debian. In Ubuntu, I don't think there is more leaf pad. There's the feather pad, but they kept leaf pad. There is Search Monkey, and this is the search for games. These are the same games that you are familiar with. The internet, we see Firefox, and of course Droopy and Dillo also. There's closed mail. I don't know if some people still use closed mail, because in many cases, if let's say if you want a Google account or all the others, it is so old, there's some certificates that are missing, and maybe they will have some problems with signing. So it's better to install Thunderbird, because you installed Firefox, why not Thunderbird? Or if you don't like Thunderbird and Firefox, you can go for SeaMonkey, because SeaMonkey has also an email and a web browser instead of using Firefox. There is transmission for the torrent. For the multimedia, you can use these. It depends on you. Celluloid is good for, but I think these are the same. Celluloid and MPV, they are the same. SMTube for the YouTube. WinFF, okay, I don't know. This is a GUI for FFmpeg. So if you like it, you can keep it. XMMS, they have one for the music. I like XMMS. It looks like Winamp before. I like it, and it is very lightweight. So what else for the Office? They have the complete LibreOffice here. Preferences, we spoke about them. Programming, there is Genie. I don't know why they are still using Rocks. Maybe some of the old users, they like to use Rocks. Rocks is outdated. There's a lot of I don't like to use this file manager. I don't know. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Most of them, they don't like it, but since some of the old-time users of Antix still use it, that's why they include it. And of course, for the desktop, you can change from the desktop directly here. There is conky on off. Let me put it. It will be off, on. And if you notice, the RAM is 268, but because of we are using it a lot, if you start it directly, it will be around 130, 140 megabytes, which is huge. One of the reasons, because it doesn't use systemd, that's why it is also fast, and there's not much services available. That's also one of the reasons. AppKiller, I like AppKiller because directly, if you have a window that is not responding, you right click, press it, and let's say I want to remove the desktop. I can remove the desktop from here. And that's basically it. A very nice software. I like Antix. I like it. Antix 23 is a very good Linux distribution. I always keep a live USB on Antix in all my travels, because there's some old system I want to run. I put the Antix, my personal Antix ISO, which I created from ISO snapshot, and use it in most of my old systems that I bump into in some of my friends' houses. It is really nice. So that's it, guys. That's it with Antix. I hope you enjoyed Antix as much as I enjoyed it. I'm waiting for the final release for Antix, so directly I can upgrade, because now I'm in beta. I can directly update into the final release. I don't think it will take much time, because most of the things, they are already handled out now in beta 2, and there's not much problem. And as you can see, there's nothing that is not working or have some bugs apparent in at least in my installation and my usage these 5-6 days in Antix 23. So that's it guys, and we will be back with another video.